Well, I think given the room, look, capital was the single biggest challenge, right? As you can imagine, if you're doing what I do, you've a bit of paper, you meet some clients, you try and get some clients, you try and get a couple of relationships, you get a few PPAs signed. You can bootstrap that bit. You can use your savings, you can fund a team to an extent. But the moment that a PPA gets signed, you need hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars to build it. And what we discovered was most conversations would go, I like what you're doing, Ross. This sounds really interesting, really cool. I like the sector. I like C&I, blah, blah, blah. Call me when you've got 20 megawatts. And I would say, well, how exactly do I fund 20 megawatts? And there was a smile, and we'd all awkwardly sit there in silence. So, yeah, I was very fortunate that by a variety of factors, call it serendipity, I met with a Japanese energy group called Idemitsu Kosan, a huge company, who had decided we want to do C&I in Southeast Asia, and they backed me very early on. So the first sort of $6-7 million of capital expenditure came from them. But it's really tough. There's this gap where you want to do something good, you think your team's good, your pipeline's interesting, but without that capital, you can't make that next step forward. So I'd imagine that I wouldn't be alone in the renewable space as an entrepreneur saying that early couple of dollars to start is challenging because you can't bootstrap this sort of industry. Unlike maybe a capex light industry, you can. This one you need real dollars to build. So yeah, that was a major, a few sleepless nights for sure. And then I was quite lucky where I came across Idemitsu Kosan, and then I built out. By building out, I then got a new investor, which is a company called British International Investment, and it becomes much easier. But those early dollars are very challenging.